Dan Larson here at the Photobooth with all the stuff I picked up at New York Comic Con 2019. That's this year. That just happened. It was my first time at this particular show. In fact, it was the first time at any show of that scale. So we're talking like San Diego, New York, maybe like Boston. I don't know, Rhode Island. I haven't been to those two recently, so I don't know for sure. But they look big on my tiny little TV screen. The show was huge. There was so many people there. It was awkward and uncomfortable at several points. I was just overwhelmed by the spectacle and attendance and all that stuff. Had a really great time, but definitely missed a lot of stuff because you just can't see everything. And you're over in one spot and you hear the crowd getting all excited over in the other spot, and you run over there and the other stuff is happening in another spot. What are you going to do? Anyway, this is all the stuff I picked up. I'm not going to go in chronological order or anything. I'm just going to go in order of whatever I grab stuff here. So right in the front, we've got the actual program for the event. The artwork itself is by one Mr. Arthur Adams, my all-time favorite artist. By far, it's not even a competition. I've just very early on got attached to his work and his line work and his characters and everything about it, and just never let go of my eyeballs. And I'm so grateful and appreciative that he is still working and still doing just the best work possible. Just look at it. You don't need me to tell you why this guy's so great. He's just great. And, I went over to his booth in Artist Alley, and first of all, I was shocked because he's just one of the legends. And I expected it to always be this giant line at his table, because why wouldn't everybody be lined up to talk to this guy, to look at his stuff, to buy things from him? And nobody was at his table, and I walked over and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say to you. I tried to speak. I was just totally starstruck, and he was just like, good, I didn't really want to talk anyway, ha ha ha, and he laughed, and I was like, whatever, I don't care. I didn't take that personally or anything. There was just a guy being an artist, didn't mind signing stuff. I was like, hey, before I even finished asking him to sign my program, he'd already signed it. So pretty psyched. That's the only Art Adams signature I actually have. It's the only one I need. It was just really, really great to have that experience, especially at my first time at that kind of at that convention at all, to get something signed by my absolute, positively, no doubt favorite artist of all time. That was really, really great. Another artist I met was, there was lots of artists I met, and I would really like to be able to mention them all here, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. Just go into the listing. It's probably still on New York Comic Con's website that has the whole listing of Artists Alley artists and writers and stuff. And just assume that I tried to talk to all of them, because they're all amazing and everybody was doing great stuff. People I've been following my whole life, people that I just discovered recently. I follow a lot of them on Instagram, and you should too, such as Daniel Warren Johnson. He's Daniel Warren Art on Instagram. Just an incredibly fantastic artist. He's one of those artists that, I draw, but I don't consider myself even remotely in his league. And he's the kind of, artist that I look at and go, well, if I was going to be a really great artist, that's what my stuff would look like anyway. So, why do I even have to bother? But he uses halftone dots, this would be a sheet of halftone dots that it's an old handmade technical thing where you lay it down. And, I'm talking about this like I'm an expert. And the funny thing is I had him show me how he does it. He does it on a lot of his commission work and independent illustrations, not necessarily on his covers or interiors or anything. But it's, so you find the sort of gradient color you want, you lay this down, you trim the part out, and then you literally, it's a bit adhesive, and you just lay it into the illustration, and it gives it a bit of that halftone look. And it was used more traditionally for being able to reproduce things with grayscale, so that the photo imagery, just Google printmaking and the history of printmaking, you can learn all that stuff. Here's the funny story. I was, admiring his work, and he showed me how he uses his stuff. And he was like, if you want, you can have this. And I said, the only way I'll take it from you is if you actually autograph it for me. And he laughed and autographed. And this, short of an actual illustration from him, by the way, he was drawing Boba Fett when I walked up to his table. And you can see that on his Instagram if you check it out. Short of an actual illustration from him, this is the piece that I would want from him more than else, because I know there are pieces here that went into other illustrations that he's done, and it's just neat because he's one of the few artists I follow and admire that's actually working this way. So it's a neat keepsake to have that from him directly. Over here we've got a Spider-Ham pin This is from, obviously from Marvel. Mondo is producing these. And the artist in particular is Tom Whalen. And that is significant because, one, he's awesome. I was familiar with his work last year at RetroCon. I found his work and a few others that I'd never seen their work before. I thought I'd never seen their work before, and that was an opportunity to sort of discover them and start following them. Apparently, I didn't bother to follow him on Instagram because I would have already known about this pin, first of all, which he gave me for free, which I really appreciate. Follow him on Instagram as well. Strong stuff, just like it sounds, STRONGSTUFF. The other significant thing about this is not just his all of his body of artwork, prints, everything he's got on his website, but he also happens to be the guy that does these artworks here on the Hasbro Lightning collection. All of those pieces, that's all Tom Whalen's work. So you should definitely follow him, check that out, see what kind of work he's doing, all the other stuff he does, and just, give him some likes for putting that Power Ranger stuff together. Over here, I've got my 40th Anniversary Gundam Hat. There's the official 40th Anniversary Gundam Insignia. I also, whenever you buy anything from the Bandai booth this weekend, you got a pin, Gundam 40th Anniversary pin. And I picked up this hat, which there was a couple different designs. I thought I was going to get, like I had seen before the show, there was a black one that just had the G on it. It said Gundam. I thought I was going to grab that one, but I thought the embroidery was kind of weak looking. This one I thought was a lot sharper. This is the EFSF Earth Federation Space Force, I think it is. This one I just thought was a higher quality hat. That said, it's one of those deep hats, and if you wear a lot of ball caps like I do, you know that there are hats that sort of fit snug to your head, and then there's like these older sort of design hats where hats used to just sit higher on top of your head. I don't need to go into this now. We've got a history of ball caps video coming up, so I'll save that all for then. But I dig this hat. I just don't know how much wear I'm actually going to get out of it, unfortunately, because the sizing is weird. Over here in the back, I've got my, this was the bag. Where's my hand? There it is. Over here in the back, this was my bag from the Bandai booth. It's got the vintage, the OG original RX-78-2 Gundam, my Gundam, on the bag there, like, finished artwork, and then sort of like disassembly of the Gunpla on the right. I just thought it was a cool design, and I also needed a big loot bag to carry the rest of my loot because my backpack was so overfull of stuff that I was like, I gotta get into this booth. And the Bandai booth, I didn't get I was there on Saturday all day, and then I went back Sunday for a couple hours in the morning, and I couldn't. I literally had so much stuff, and I really wanted to get into the Bandai booth, but you had to wait in line because they were only letting so many people in at a time. So I got there first thing in the morning on Sunday. I was in line, and I was one of the first couple of people in. But the important thing was I got a loot bag to put all my stuff in to make the train ride home easier. Over here we've got. I'm gonna get my Daniel Warren Johnson halftone sheet out of here, so nothing happens to it. There we go. Super Robot King on Instagram. He tipped me off that Bandai in their booth, since I hadn't been able to get into there Saturday, he had tipped me off that if I were to wait in line and get into the booth, that they actually had Wave 2 of the Gundam Universe figures in stock. I already had regular RX-78-2 Gundam and Gundam Wing from Wave 1. I passed on Gundam Unicorn for now, but those things are everywhere right now, including like Walgreens, so it shouldn't be a problem for me to pick that up at some point if I get bored and just feel like I need Gundam Unicorn, or if I have a chance to watch it and develop some kind of connection to it. But they had all of Wave 2, which is Death Scythe, Barbatos, and the other one from Gundam Unicorn, the Banshee mode or whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called, and I don't know that series very well at all. But I was really excited to grab these. I thought I had pre-ordered them, but they hit very, very recently, and I feel like I should have gotten a shipping notice if I had pre-ordered them. So I'm assuming I didn't. If they pop up, I guess I'll try to sell them or trade them or something. Because I talked about this previously in some booth videos, but one of the things I really do look for at shows like these are robot spirits and mythic legions. They're things that I like a lot, but don't normally buy. And for some reason, when I go to those shows, I'm like, throw the budget to the wind. Who cares about the wallet? And I buy the more expensive stuff. So I walked that whole show floor. Nobody had robot spirits, or if they did, it was like one or two, and it wasn't a suit that I was interested. And I didn't see a single Mythic Legions figure anywhere. So I was really disappointed about that. So once I got into the Bandai booth, I was like, okay, at least getting the Gundam Universe figures, I can cross some Gundam stuff because I had purchased these already. A couple of Universal unit figures, these tiny little. Model kits. I grabbed the Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, and then the GP01 FB, which is, let me put this little guy back over here. The GP01 FB would be this guy up here, and there's two different versions, and they're not really blind boxes. You can see which one you're getting before you open the box. This is GP01 FB, and this is version A. Version A comes with the shield and the gun, as opposed to just the, I don't know if this is a sniper beam rifle or whatever that is, but same figure, just you're getting different weapon assortments. So I grabbed the A, and I thought that's all I was going to be able to get for Gundam stuff, because I didn't really want to buy any model kits. Who's got the time to put them together? So really awesome to grab the Universal Gundam Universe figures. I just finished watching season 1 of Iron-Blooded Orphans very recently, so I do like Barbatos quite a bit. He does come with his other club weapon. And then, Gundam Wing and Death Scythe. I'm really hoping we get to Death Scythe Hell. That would be fantastic. I wouldn't mind other versions of Barbatos as well, especially the Lupus Rex, whichever one has like the giant claws and all that stuff. That'd be really cool. Also, they had the Gundam Universe version of the Endless Waltz Gundam Wing custom. So that figure is definitely coming out, which I assumed we were going to get to all of the original Gundam Wing figures, Heavy Arms, Sandrock, that whole first wave of 5. I wasn't sure if we were going to actually get to any of the custom units, but that gives me hope for Death Scythe Hell, which is absolutely one of my top 5 Gundam suits for sure. Next up, we got the NECA exclusive, the Green Lantern and Yellow Lantern 2-pack. I was late to the party getting the San Diego exclusive Superman Alien 2-pack, and then I didn't get the armored Batman with Predator. But that Superman figure, I saw all the pictures that you guys and everybody else on Instagram were posting of that Superman, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. That thing looks amazing. I got to grab that thing. So I was able to, I think Toy Bro hooked me up with those. So I have that Superman, and then once I saw honestly, the first picture I saw of this Yellow Lantern Predator, I thought it was a custom that somebody had done, and I was like, oh, that's really neat. I wonder if we could ever see like anything like that officially. There's no way that could ever happen. And then I realized it was an actual legit product that NECA was coming out with. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get that. So I do have, I have Batman and the Joker Xenomorph. I pre-ordered that, and then I've got this, I picked this up physically. Once again, great figures. This thing, it looks really cool. I love the fact that he's got, his constructs are the regular Predator weapons, and they're molded in the translucent plastic. It's so cool. It's such a cool effect. He's got an alternate head, 2 alternate hands. Hal Jordan comes with the John Stewart head, so you can pick which Green Lantern of Earth you want. And then he comes with a bunch of different ring effects. But this thing these never hold up. My translucent Predator, stealth mode Predator, whatever, his stick just like broke in half, like it was made out of spaghetti, which is disappointing. I wouldn't mind them thickening this stuff up just to make it not so brittle, especially in the translucent plastic. But I was super psyched to get these. I'm not really that into Predator, but once I saw this set, it was one of those figures that I just couldn't get out of my head, and I had to get. So I was really psyched to be able to pick that up. Over here we've got Super 7 Toy Pizza collab, New York Comic Con exclusive. And actually over here as well, we've got the, see if I can remember their names, Skalgrimson, Sandhawk, and is it Black Hyper Knight or Hyper Black Knight? I think it's Hyper Black Knight. So these two were at the Super 7 booth. They come in a set together. And obviously, Captain Deadstar was the original version of this figure. So for this different colorway, he's actually, considered a different character. He's got a totally different name. just still an amazingly cool figure. I didn't get the version 2 that they put out of him. I don't remember what colors he was. And I didn't have a Sand Rat, I think was the original version of this. He's got the cool translucent parts as Sand Hawk. He comes with alternate heads as well. And then this Hyper Black Knight was a sort of a collab, I guess, or I don't know if it was like a share. I don't know what you'd call it. But that was through Gotcha Robot. Yeah, Gotcha Robot was the booth, and they're also on Instagram at Gotcha Robot. I don't know if there's any availability on these things anymore. Jesse from Toy Pizza had actually sent these out to me before the show. So I didn't have to fight the crowds to try to get these, to make sure I secured them. So I appreciate that. Check out Knights of the Slice. Check out Super 7. Check out Toy Pizza for all of the information regarding all those figures. Over here, this was my eBay was nice enough to host me for an hour at their booth. I didn't have a booth set up or anything, so I wanted a sort of central location where people could where I could just say to everybody, like, hey, if you want to say hi, if you want to meet up, I'll be at the eBay booth for an hour. Come to this central location instead of me trying to coordinate with anybody who wanted to just say hi all over the show. And a lot of people came up, and it was really great. And they were running Toy Galaxy on the TV at their booth. And that was a surreal moment, but a super genuine thrill to have. And it was funny because they were running the top 10 Masters of the Universe figures video, which has me in the He-Man outfit. And so, when we were deciding on that video, and producer Greg picked out the costume, and when I was writing it and when we were shooting it, there was no part of me that was thinking, oh yeah, this is going to get broadcast at eBay's booth at New York Comic Con. But that was a pretty neat thing to see that. So they gave me a light up lanyard. I don't know if you can see this very well. Hang on, let me see if I can find the constantly burning mode. Yeah, so it's better in the dark. But this one lights up blue, and they were giving those out if you posted something. They had like some like photo booth set up. If you wanted to post something online, you got a free light up lanyard. Over here, we've got in the back, we've got two figures from. See if I can reach this without breaking anything. My whole setup. Two figures from Mike Zolotarow's Zola World, the realm. Well, this is Realm of the Underworld, and this is technically Warrior Beasts. This is Realm of the Underworld. This is Krokor, part of the whole line. There's a whole line of figures back here, and then this is Archfiend Warrior. Can't go wrong with a translucent skeleton. This was, and I think if I'm not mistaken, these parts are interchangeable with some of the other in the line. I'm not positive about that. Don't quote me on that. Oh yeah, Zola World interchangeability right there. Speaking of He-Man and He-Man costumes, Mike was hosting. I don't remember the gentleman's name beyond Prince Adam, but he had a He-Man model on hand that was. He did not need the buff fake muscle suit like I wore. He brought his own muscles, and man, did he suit the character appropriately. That was a pretty good He-Man that was working at that booth. Back here in the back, all blurry and reflective, with the glare on it. I grabbed the Storm Collectibles. It's still got all the protective plastic on the inside. Storm Collectibles Cyborg Smoke. The only other Storm Collectibles figure I currently have. Wow, that is blowing the light right out. The only other Storm Collectibles figure I have is regular Human Smoke. So I was like, well, if I'm only going to get one other figure at this show, I should probably get Cyborg Smoke. He was one of my favorite ninjas. I would still like to get the original Scorpion figure. That thing's way too expensive right now. I wouldn't mind Goro, and if I had planned a little bit differently, I might have grabbed Goro because I think they wanted 90 or 95 for one, but if you bought two, you got one half off. So that's like, a quarter off for each, and you can trade or flip or do whatever you want. And I almost went for that, but I grabbed the Smoke. I knew I was going to be buying some other stuff. That was like first thing in the morning, so I didn't want to spend that much money that fast. So, but I still would like to get original Scorpion. I would really like to get Noob Saibot. And I don't really know if I need anybody else. I wouldn't mind like original Kano. They haven't done him yet. Original Raiden. Basically that whole original line from the first game, because that was really that roster. Even Reptile, I'd love an original Reptile. That roster is really just what set in for me. And then when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, you know, the newer version of Reptile, the newer version of you know, Smoke and all that stuff. But anyway, I grabbed a couple of figures for Mrs. Toy Galaxy. We have not had a chance to sit and watch Dark Crystal yet, the Age of Resistance. But we absolutely will be watching that at some point soon. And we've got almost all the figures from the first Super 7 reaction, or Funko. Was that Funko or Super 7? I don't even know off the top of my head. These are Funko. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about this, a lot of love for the characters, the world, the mythology and everything. So this was the first time I'd seen them anywhere, so I wanted to make sure I grabbed at least a couple of them. I think all we need left, all we have to get at this point is just the Hunter Agra and Silk Splitter, and then we'll have them all. So anyway, that is all the stuff I got. I had a really great time. Looking forward to next year, or even just the next show, honestly. It's just, it's a lot of fun talking to people, hunting for toys, seeing all the stuff, doing all the things. Sorry to anybody who was there that I didn't get a chance to bump into. Thank you to everyone who did stop me to say hi, take a picture, whatever. Thank you to everyone who came by the eBay booth while I was there. That made me feel real good. Like eBay wasn't wasting their time hosting me. Thank you for watching this and all of our videos. Hit like, hit subscribe. Check out our Patreon if you're in the position to help the channel grow. Thank you very much. Later.